Good evening, everyone. Today we are talking about essential oils and children. And this is sort of a long time coming. I've been saying that I'm going to do this presentation. I haven't gotten around to it. And so now finally here I am. And for those of you who were with me last week, you know, we talked a lot about business. We talked about something called the elephant in the room. And today we're going to talk finally about kids and essential oils. And we're really going to dive deeply into it. So we've got 3 or 4 main sections. We're even going to talk about kids' nutrition, because I think all of that is important. And we're going to give you some great tips that you can use with your own family or that you can recommend to other families. So if you have little kids at home, great, this is a perfect presentation for you. If you don't have little kids at home for a myriad of reasons, maybe you just don't have kids, or maybe your kids are grown, maybe you're grandma and your kids don't live with you, those little kids don't live with you. I'm sure you know tons of little kids, or you know families with little kids, because honestly, I know even in my neighborhood, I don't personally have little ones at home anymore, but there's a whole bunch of little ones that live right around me, including on houses on both sides. And I see them all the time riding their bicycles and running around in the street. And we have a very community-minded neighborhood, which is really nice. So even during COVID, everybody's been able to get out and get some fresh air and socialize with one another on a limited basis, right? And some of these families are actually, on my block at least, are actually related to each other, which is kind of nice. So they're all cousins and they're out there playing. So if you are new to this call, I really want to hear from you. Please tell me in the chat, I'm new, or if you know someone who's new and maybe feeling a little bit shy, I'd love to hear, yeah, my friend is on and she's a little shy. And all you moms and dads that are listening to this, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I hope that we've got some information on here that you haven't heard before. I think there's some good things that are going on. I also feel like we have to be very mindful of our kids' emotions, especially now. Many of them have been indoors for a long, long time, or on very limited interaction with their peers. And it really can affect their mental and emotional health. So we want to make sure that they're being supported, and essential oils are a great way to support them. And if you have questions, I want to take questions at the end. I even want to take live questions today. So if you have a question, you want to just raise your hand, I'm happy to do that, or you can type the question in the chat. But I do want to get started because we've got a lot of slides. I prepared a lot of slides with you today. So I think that's super important that we get started and I show you what it is, what are we doing with essential oils today? We are going to, and for those of you who can see my screen, if you can give me a thumbs up, that would be really great. Okay, thank you so much for all of my thumbs up people. I really appreciate it. I know every week I kind of do the same thing. Somehow I don't know why, but sometimes I flub the dub and then I have a panic moment. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? And I don't have my screen available for you. So today's about essential oils and children. Here's a little girl standing outdoors and she's breathing in this essential oil, but we're going to talk a lot about different essential oils that you can use, tips. So get out your pencil and paper. There's going to be a lot of things to write down, or take photographs of the screen. You can take screenshots if you want. I'm happy to have you take screenshots. So number one on the hit parade is this presentation. If you're viewing it later on, is on YouTube. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Click the red button, click the bell, and you'll be notified every time we have a new presentation. So we're usually presenting twice a week, once in English and again in Spanish. Usually the same information, but sometimes it's not. But if you're an English speaker or a Spanish speaker and you want to know more about essential oils, YouTube is the place to really keep in touch with us all the time. We are also on other, of course, social media networks, but YouTube, at least for those of you who are listening tonight, that's the place to really go and to send your teams. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about mainly 5 things. So yes, essential oils are safe for children. We're going to talk about doses and dilutions. We're going to talk about ways to use essential oils with children. We're going to talk about nutrition. And then finally, we're going to give you some tips and tricks. We have a lot of slides prepared for you, so I hope you've got your pencil and paper ready, because each one of these categories has a lot of slides and a lot of information, and I want to make sure that you're getting all of it. So if you're a mom or a dad or a grandma or an auntie and you have little children that you are exposed to on a regular basis, or maybe you're a wellness advocate that talks about kids a lot. I want to hear it in the chat. Please get in there and talk to me. We want to keep this lively today. So just as an aside, I personally, my kids are college kids now. They're both at university. But because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, they all have babies, which is really kind of fun. And so we're in the stage now where my nieces and nephews are beginning to start their families. So at least I would say there's about 8 or 10, I guess they're grandnieces and nephews. Oh my goodness, now I'm feeling old. Grandnieces and nephews that I get to see, some of them on a regular basis, some of them not so regular, but it is really fun. And we have actually a newborn niece, but newborn, like I think she's less than a month. And then we have some older kids going up to about, I want to say 12. So we've got that whole gamut of little kids that are interested in essential oils. I often travel with my essential oils for kids because I know that if I'm going to see any of them, I want to make sure they can give them something, or I can give them something to their mom. So Doreen says her girls are in elementary school, 7 and 10, and they use essential oils every day. That is the prime age to use essential oils. I think that they're interested in essential oils. They're old enough to understand essential oils, and there's a lot that you can be teaching them about essential oils. So thank you, Doreen, for popping in there so fast. I really appreciate it. So yes, essential oils are safe for children. They've been effective and used over thousands of years. They're natural and safe when used properly, and they are tested specifically. doTerra essential oils are tested for safety and processes. So it's important that we know that if you're using essential oils, you're using the proper dosages for your kiddies, right? And you're also sticking with doTerra essential oils because we don't want to use other brands. There are many other brands out on the market. Not all of them do the testing that we do. And the purity really, for me, is the thing that gets me. Kids are super porous. Their skin is really thin. You want to make sure that whatever it is that they're absorbing something that's going to be healthy and safe for them, and is not going to give you any surprises, right? So you know that parents tend to be worried about stuff. Oh, what was that? There was something in front of my bug. Parents tend to worry, right? So we don't want to make parents worry anymore. We want to make sure that they understand that there's safety when you're talking about essential oils, specifically doTerra essential oils. So we've got a couple of other people jumping in the chat. Z says she has 2 nieces who are her doTerra ambassadors. I love that. Z, I've actually seen your nieces online. Sometimes they're just the cutest. Oh my gosh. And they're super smart. Danielle says her daughter is 6 and loves children's oils. She knows just which one to use for every issue, and she puts them in her backpack, which is great. Another great way to use essential oils. We have those carabiner tops, which is the ones where it's like a little rubber thing. You stick it on the top of the essential oil. You're going to see it later, so don't worry. And then you can clip it onto the outside of the backpack or right onto their pants pocket, whatever it is that you need. Doreen also says that her youngest girl shares oils with her classmates and brings them in on purpose. So terrific. That's a great way for kids to be able to communicate. You always want to be mindful of what the teacher says, right? Some teachers can be really nervous. They don't want kids to be sharing anything. I'll tell you a little bit of a story about that later, but you want to make sure that your kid is using their essential oils and has them available to them during the day. So how do we ensure safe use? So you want to make sure that when you're using your essential oils, you're monitoring your child. That's number 1 on the hit parade. You want to show them that you are using moderate amounts of essential oils with them. You want to teach them right from the beginning, 1 to 4 drops, right? And especially with children, maybe 1 drop just to start. And then you want to also talk about dilution, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And it's also, if you have any questions at all, to consult your child's pediatrician. Consult your child's physician, because your child's physician is going to be able to say to you, if you have a specific health concern, yes, this is a great idea. You should use this with the child, or I would recommend that you hold off for a little while. Your child's pediatrician knows best. I have to say, I've been super blessed with a pediatrician that we just love. And she's known my kids since they were babies. Super, just an enthusiastic lady, which I love about her, and very open-minded. She is actually a DO, which means that she is a doctor of osteopathy in addition to being an MD. What I love about that is that she's open to other modalities. So I've been able to express to her over the years what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. And she'll often say to me, yes, use the breathe in the diffuser, or yes, put the On Guard on their feet. If it's keeping them healthy and safe, then that's a wonderful thing. General safety guidelines. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about general safety guidelines. We want to make sure, as I said, that you're keeping your essential oils, especially those hot ones, in a place where your child is not going to be tempted to open every bottle and drink everything or apply every oil onto themselves. I have a giant essential oils case. I know many of you have that. Now that I don't have babies in the house, I keep it on a lower shelf. But if you did have babies or younger children, please put it up on a higher shelf so that your kids, or teach them, mama goes in the bag, but baby does not, right? They are extremely tempting, all those little bottles, all the different colors. They smell so yummy, but just be mindful. Your child is not a mini adult. And so you want to make sure that you're using the essential oils in a safe way. Teresa is reminding me that a pharmacist may also be a good resource to reassure their safety and use for good health. Absolutely. You can always bring an essential oil bottle into your pharmacy, show it to your pharmacist and say, may I use this with whatever, or may I use this, or do you think it's a great idea? Terrific recommendation. Thank you so much, Teresa. Okay, so number 2 is, let's talk about safety tips, doses and dilutions. So I'm comparing adults and children, right? So when we talk about aromatic, we're usually talking about using a diffuser. Usually there are no limits on diffusing, and that's why there's a line in each one of those. But I will tell you this, you always, when you're trying to think about diffusing for children, think about the size of the room and the power of the diffuser. If you feel overwhelmed by the diffusing, that it's just too strong, then yes, it's probably too strong for your baby or your child. So for example, we've talked about this many times. Can you not see, and none of you can see my, my slide with safety tip, doses and dilutions? Can you tell me? Teresa, can you see it or no? You cannot see it. Now? How about now? Nope, you don't see it? Okay, so I'm just going to talk about it. How about this? Let's try to stop the share. Oops. And I'm actually going to reshare. Maybe that'll help. Not sure what happened there. There we go. Can you see it now? Safety tip, doses and dilutions. No, you cannot see that slide. All right, well, we'll keep going then. I'm just going to talk about safety tips. Oh, it wasn't progressing from the number 1 slide. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Let's see what we can do about this. Okay. This doesn't often happen to me, but as you know, sometimes there are just glitches in things, and you just have to keep going. You can see it now. Yay. Okay, there we go. Safety tip, doses and dilutions. Fabulous. Okay, so the idea is that when we are, and thank you for letting me know so quickly, so I didn't go through all of the slides and then I get through halfway and everyone says, see, hun, you're saying that you can see it. Teresa, you can see it also, correct? Great, okay. Thank you for not letting me go through all the slides and then get all the way to the end and you haven't seen anything, which would not be good. The other 3 slides that maybe you didn't see had just had little kids sitting on there, so you're cool. This was the first one that honestly you could take a screenshot of. So I use several different types of diffusers in my house. I use what I'm going to call the dry kind that have some sort of a felt inside, saturate the felt, and then air blows through that felt pad. That pad can be replaced from time to time, but it's not super strong. These are the types of diffusers you might even have in your car, or you might put in a bathroom in a very small room. Those literally you could keep running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I never, in any size room. And honestly, you really don't get a lot of essential oils coming out into the air. Then there's the kind with water, right? And we have, and Doreen is reminding me, clay diffusers too. Yes, anything that's dry. All of those diffusers, they smell great, they look pretty, they don't give you a lot of essential oils in the room. So you're going to get some scenting, some jewelry is another one, right? That they're, for the most part, they smell good, you're getting a little bit of essential oil, but you're never going to be overpowered by any of those dry diffusers. Next ones are the water diffusers. They come in all different shapes and sizes. They have little tiny ones now that are about the size, about 250 milliliters. And then now doTerra is offering the super giant ones that are about 1,000 milliliters, or about 1,000 milliliters, which is a lot. I think 1,000 milliliters is a liter, right? So a liter of water, just think about it. That's a diffuser that's going to cover a much bigger area. It's also going to be operating for a much longer period of time. It's going to cover a much bigger space. You would never put that, or let's hope you should not be putting that giant diffuser with a lot of oil in a small baby's room and just letting it run, right? We want to use common sense, folks. So when you're starting out with a baby, I always had kind of a small diffuser. I want to say it was no more than about the size of this cup, which is about 250 to 500 milliliters. Have my diffuser running in there. Sometimes even if I had an infant, I would put on the diffuser, shut the door, and then when the baby was ready to go to sleep, shut off the diffuser. The other reason why was I always liked my kids to sleep in a super dark room. I've read some articles about the importance of sleeping in darkness for eye health and development. And so I was always really concerned that I wanted my kids to sleep in a really dark room. My kids, because they grew up sleeping in super dark rooms, were never really afraid of the dark. And so that it worked for us. And I would just turn off the diffuser and just have, with the door closed, have that essential oil that had been already blown out into the room, just sitting there in the air. And it worked really, really well. Now, if you have a sick child and you want to sit in a room and maybe do quiet activities with a child and have the essential oil diffuser going on, fine. The third kind of diffuser are the direct diffusion into the air. And I know there are fewer and fewer of these. I have an old one, an Aroma Ace. I know some of you have it too. Some diffusers like this that are direct diffusion into the air are the strongest. And literally within about an hour or so, your entire space, I don't care how big or small, will smell like that essential oil. So my office, as you know, is on the lower level of my house. I often put on an Aroma Ace, I don't know, changing it up every day. Literally, lately I've been having Citrus Bloom, which my family really loves, but I've also had some oils that not everybody loves. For whatever reason, geranium is not popular in my house at all. Nobody likes it except me. So when I put on geranium and I have it going on in the basement, what starts happening? On the same floor, my husband will start complaining, what is that that's going on? And then on the first floor, they'll begin to smell it. And then on the second floor, they'll begin to smell it. And then I become very unpopular in my house. So I have to shut off the diffuser. So you have a choice. If your apartment or your home is fairly large, you can use those direct air diffusers, but you want to be mindful that you're either putting them on a timer or you're shutting them off after a specific period of time. But when we're talking about babies and children, we want to make sure that we're using them in modest amounts. Let's go quickly to internal, oral, and dermal. Okay, so internal is when we talk about taking essential oils in capsules. That's the difference between oral and internal. So most kids cannot swallow capsules. So this is usually not an issue, but as your kids get older. So we're talking about that 9 to 12-year-old range. Kids can begin to take capsules, and some of the smaller capsules like the Tri-Ease or perhaps the Digest Zen, they might be able to swallow. You also have to look at the size of your child, right? So if your child is very petite, in general, you want to make sure that you know how much does my child weigh and then adjust accordingly. Now, as you know, I always had a very petite girl and a very big boy. So when they were both 12, my daughter was still petite, but my son was the size of almost a fully grown man. He could take a full dose of essential oils. Even having said that, at 12, they are not fully grown adults, and we want to be mindful that we're not overloading them. Now, oral is when we actually ask them to drop an essential oil in their mouth, maybe like a peppermint or peppermint beadlet, or we're putting a little bit of essential oil in water for them. So just be mindful that internal and oral are two different things. And usually for little kids, we're not using, there's literally no internal, and there might not even be oral, having them directly drop it in their mouth. And I'll tell you why. One of the reasons we don't usually give kids essential oils right in their mouth is because they don't taste as yummy as they smell, right? Now, could you add an essential oil into a smoothie? Yes. Could you add it into some sort of a food? Yes. So when my kids were little, I frequently made lemonade, and I would drop a few drops of lemon essential oil into the lemonade to kind of boost the nutrition level of the lemonade. That would be oral, right? But I didn't ask them to just drink lemon oil and water. Why? Because they weren't going to like it, and they were going to go blah, blah, blah. And then what would happen? They'd be turned off to essential oils, and that's not what we want. And then the last way, of course, is dermal. We're going to be using those essential oils right on their skin. When we're talking about children, we're talking about 1 to 2 drops in a single dosage, and then over 24 hours, between 3 and 24 drops. I would make sure that you're not applying those essential oils to sensitive areas. And if you are applying essential oils, that you're diluting. You get to know your child, and all of you that talked about the kids that are in your life right now, you know those children, but you always want to be mindful, right? When you're talking about other people's children, that they're clear on how they can be using essential oils. So I've gone over this a lot, but let's keep going because we've got a lot to show you. So here's tip number 1. Children, and we're talking a little bit, these are a couple of tips, and then we're going to talk about each of the individual topics. So number 1, children should not take adult supplements. Under no circumstances should you be giving the kids LLV. After about the age of 12, again, and depending on the size of your child, and if your child can swallow capsules, then you might consider LLV. But before that, you really want to make sure that they're taking a child supplement. Hopefully, they can be taking the A to Z vitamins and chewing them up. We're going to talk about that in a minute. While children can safely use single essential oils and essential oil blends, many products from doTerra are really geared towards adults. So you want to make sure you're giving them child products, right? Tip number 2, avoid sensitive areas. When you're applying essential oils, soles of the feet are always a great bet. If you want to apply essential oils on a tummy, make sure, because someone has a tummy ache, or maybe on the chest, make sure you're diluting. Always look for broken or damaged skin, and never apply essential oils into the inner nose or pouring into the ear. That we know already, because we never do that for anybody. Here's one thing that's a great tip, especially for ears: putting a few essential oils, drops of essential oils like a tea tree or even an On Guard, onto a cotton ball, and then just kind of resting it in the ear, so that those essential oils can begin to penetrate and help the ear to heal. Another essential oil tip is light sensitivity, right? We want to make sure that we are mindful of using citrus oils on our children's skin in areas that could be exposed to the sun. There are also products like Intune that contain citrus oils. So we want to make sure that we're not putting our children in any sort of direct challenges with the sun and essential oils. We don't want them to be uncomfortable, right? We want to check warnings and labels. And then if you have applied an essential oil with citrus in it, you want to keep them out of the sun for about 12 hours so they don't have that sun sensitivity. Here's another tip: safe storage. We talked about this a little bit. keeping your essential oils out of reach of your children. Very tempting essential oils. They smell great. They look great. They're exciting, all the little bottles. Kids love those little things. They want to line them up, and just make sure that they're in the right place, right? Your kids need to know where your essential oils go. So let's go now to item number 3, ways to use essential oils with your children. Of course, fun ways are an amazing way, because then your kids are exposed to essential oil and begin to like them and understand them and know that they can be used in many different settings. So things like recipes, smoothies, as I mentioned before, any sort of treats or breakfast food, and then DIYs, fabulous things like crafts, jewelry, soap, in your bath. I know people have been making like a Play-Doh type of thing where the kids can mush around. It's like a fun clay, that gloopy thing that kids love to stretch. You can put it in there. All of those things are really fun products that you could, things that you can do with kids. And if you go to the doTerra blog, you're going to find tons of recipes and DIYs and practical things that you can use essential oils with children. So there's a big section in there. If you're interested in more, it's doTerra.com, and then just type in blog and you'll find it right away. Doreen is telling me that her girls use the kids collection, and her eldest loves to use HD Clear with dilution. Okay, that's terrific. So we've got a bunch. Now, here's what I love to know. I know that many of you have done DIY projects with essential oils. So you know I'm not a DIYer in general. Sometimes I am, but I don't know. I don't have the time. I do have the time, but I don't make the time to do that. Tell me some of the DIY projects that you have done, because I know that every time I go to Singapore, right there in the front office, someone's making soap. I know that in Malaysia, you do a lot of DIY products. Tell me about some of the DIY projects that you have done, and some of them might even be appropriate for children. I'm going to hold on, but I really want to hear from you in the chat. Tell me about some of the things that you've made. I remember last time I was in Singapore, somebody was making these glycerin soaps, and they were amazing, amazing. And in fact, I think I still have one because I don't want to use it. It looks so pretty. And it's got flowers in there. Okay, I'm waiting for you all. You got to tell me about some DIY things. Anybody has used, let me see if I can post for you. Also things like hot chocolate, lollipops. What have you made? Megan says Play-Doh. Thank you, Megan. Thanks for helping me out. What things have you made? Are you not doing as many DIY projects now? Peanut butter dips, popcorn is always fun. You can, of course, do cupcakes, smoothies. All of those would be DIYs. Someone said that they were doing bubbles with essential oil. Ooh, that's fun. That's really fun. You can use essential oils making bird feeders from out of, I think, some of the used containers, soaps, bubble bath, of course. Bath bombs is a big one that people like. You can make a heating pad or an iPad, which is really kind of fun. And then you can use those later on a sore neck. Those are great projects to do with your kids, and then you can give them to grandma or mom or an auntie, and then have a little bit of fun with it. Okay. Whoops. Okay, now let's talk about some of the products that are designed specifically to use with children. Okay, number one on the hit parade is the Touch Kit, and I love the Touch Kit. It's not a children's product per se because they are the original essential oil blends. But they are diluted. And when we talk about dilution, we want to think immediately of children and, of course, the elderly, anyone who has sensitive skin. It's a set of 9. It matches what I'm going to call our top 10 essential oils minus lemon, right? Because lemon has skin sensitivity, it's UV sensitive, so that's the one that's left out, but includes Breathe. So these are our blends: Breathe, Deep Blue, Digest Zen, and On Guard. And then our singles include frankincense, lavender, melaleuca, oregano, and peppermint. And I know you've used these a lot of different times. I'm going to give you some kid tips in the next slide. Swambi says bubbles with essential oil sounds interesting. If you've got a recipe, could we share it? That would, Teresa, that goes back to you. And then Doreen says, is it mixed soap with essential oils? So yes, I'm sure somebody will come up with a recipe as I'm talking. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the roll-ons. What can you use them for kid-friendly first aid, right? This is like the first aid kit for kids. On Guard, of course, for colds and flu. Lavender for cuts, bruises, and crankiness, right? Digestion for any sort of digestive issues. Deep Blue for pain or any sort of injury. Breathe for anything having to do with the respiratory system. Melaleuca for skin, for cuts. Frankincense for sadness, memory, and focus. Oregano for any sort of skin's conditions. And for those of you who can see the slide, sometimes kids get warts, but oregano is a really good one. Somebody actually told me that if you're using the oregano on a wart for a child, you want to dot it on and then you want to cover it with an occlusive barrier, even a piece of strong tape, because that's what's really going to cause it to penetrate. So what's the minimum age for kids to use the touch range? I would say you could start using them if they're toddlers. I don't know if I would use it on an infant. If I was using essential oils on an infant, I would dilute them even more, but probably a 2-year-old, especially if you're using them on the soles of the feet, you should be fine. If you are using, let's say, the Digestion on the tummy, sometimes the stomach can be a little bit thinner skin. Maybe you want to dilute it a little bit more. But none of these, I would say, except the oregano, and that's the other one that you want to be really concerned about, or maybe the peppermint that could waft into their eyes. Use good judgment. But many of these essential oils, certainly the lavender, the frankincense, the On Guard, could be used on a regular basis with smaller children. Let's talk now about kids and emotions. And this is our other diluted kit, right? So you remember originally we came out with the small bottles of essential oils for emotions, and then the diluted bottles of essential oils, things like motivate, cheer, passion, forgive, console, and peace. I'm finding the parents that I'm talking to are very, very concerned about their kids' emotional well-being. And this goes from the smallest children to the oldest ones. I have to say, I've been talking to my college students recently, and it's the end of the semester, and they're going into those last few days of classes, and then reading period, which for us is the study period right before exams, and then final exams. There's a lot of nervousness. There's a lot of tension. There are a lot of changes going on, right? Kids are being bombarded by so many changes. Are they going to graduate? Are they not going to graduate? Is the graduation going to be live, or it's going to be only recorded? Is it going to be a hybrid? Are they coming home? Are they staying? A lot of decisions have to be made, and they're still younger people, and they may not have the experience that we have to make decisions continuously. And I think after a year of having been locked down in COVID, it is hard for our young people. So be mindful, be gentle with them, really try to listen to their hearts. I find that sometimes when I talk to my kids, because they're big, the conversation will go back to a certain pattern, which is, have you been eating? Have you been sleeping? How are your grades? And I don't know, maybe one, and oh, what's going on with money, right? Are you okay? And by allowing myself to drift into a pattern and not really talking to my kids and listening to my kids, I can put them in a box to a certain degree, not allowing them to talk. I find that with the emotions kit, it allows me to talk more about feelings, like where's your heart? And I'll say, especially to my son, because my daughter can be much more emotive, but I'll say to my son sometimes, tell me what you felt when that happened, because it's very easy to recount details. And gentlemen, I know I have some gentlemen on the call. Sometimes emotions are not the thing that we'll first go to. We want to be able to allow our children to have that space where they can open up and really talk to us about what they were feeling. This is, I would say, a tricky time, not just for kids, but for adults. And maybe providing the emotional aromatherapy essential oils for some adults that you know in your life could also really help someone and help to save them from some of the things that they're feeling. And I know that sounds a little drastic, but I think we're all under a lot of pressure. You know that there are 6 essential oils. I thought this was a little bit of a better photograph for you to take a look at them. I like to use cheer, passion, and motivate in the morning, and forgive, peace, and console at night. Now, I don't use all 6 every day. I'm going to be totally honest with you, but I continuously use forgive and console right now. I use them in the evening. I sometimes use them in the afternoon when I'm feeling like I've had a lot of stress during the day. I use motivate and cheer during the morning, or passion. But forgive and console are my 2 go-tos. And I think you'll remember my having said that a couple of years ago when we were at convention and we talked about essential oils and this kit became available, we were told that forgive actually has the most potent of the blends, and then whatever it is that's in there. And right now I can't remember it. I'm looking at my notes and I don't even see it. That console, but particularly forgive is the essential oil that if you're holding on to resentments, that's the important thing, that we let go of those resentments. And many of us may have resentments now that we've been in our houses for a while, right? We wish, and sometimes a wish can turn into a resentment. So release some of that and allow yourself to move forward. Ben is telling me that forgive and motivate every morning. Yeah, I really feel like we need some of that stuff. You need it on your heart. Our kids need it, and they need to know that we're really with them and we're sharing with them. I don't know if I've sent a set of either of this to my kids lately. You know what? I think I'm going to do it this week. I'll send one to each one of them because I think it's a good thing for them. Okay, let's talk about the doTerra Kids Kit. So this is something that came out a couple of years ago. So in this particular slide, it shows the tamer as part of the kit, but it's not yet part of the kit. If you order the Kids Kit, it's $105 US. Without the tamer is sold separately, but each one of these comes with a little symbol, and I think you can see the symbols. So from left to right on the calmer is a little brain, and that means that this is good for your child's brain, for their emotions, right? Rescuer and tamer have the little person. That means that's great for their body. And then steady and brave have the little heart, and that usually has to do with how is my heart feeling? Where am I going back to those emotions? Super important. And some of you may feel like, I'm not emotional. I don't even know how to deal with this. Begin to open up to the emotions of the situation and also the empathy for the other person. It's not always that easy. It really is not that easy, but I know that you can do it. I have confidence in you. Teresa is reminding me that the ingredients in Forgive are spruce leaf, bergamot peel, juniper berry, myrrh, arborvitae, nootka, thyme, and citronella herb. Now, I don't know if it's the nootka or the myrrh or the arborvitae or the combination of all of them, but it is a super powerful blend. Use your Forgive and offer it to other people. I'm not going to go through every single one of these blends of the Kids Kit, but I am going to go through my top ones. Number 1 on the hit parade is Thinker. I love it because it has vetiver, peppermint, clementine, and rosemary, and it is in a fractionated coconut oil base. What I love about the Kids Kit is that they are simplified blends. So while we have Intune, and Intune is a terrific blend, Thinker has fewer ingredients and probably is much more diluted than than Intune. In fact, I know it's more diluted. So you want to make sure that when you're offering essential oils to kids, you're offering something appropriate to them. You can send this blend with them to school. It's designed for creating a sense of alertness and clarity. It's a great go-to when you need concentration or attention is needed. Promotes a stronger sense of focus. So especially for a child who is at school age, we don't want to beat up on our kids, but we want to provide them tools that they can use so they can maintain their focus. Okay, here we go. For the calmer and restful blend, and part of the reason why I'm showing these different blends is because they have the different symbols on them. So the calmer restful blend is a blend of lavender, cananga, Buddha wood, and Roman chamomile in a fractionated coconut oil base. Promotes a serene atmosphere. Roll it on the bottom of the feet to create a stress-free mood for when you want to relax or you want your child to relax and unwind. This would be something that I would probably be giving doing them at the end of the day, or if they were very wound up, also super appropriate. You could put it on the soles of the feet of a baby. And you could also, if you felt, you could roll it on first and then put a little additional fractionated coconut oil on the soles of the baby feet. I would use it moderately with a baby, but with a middle schooler or with a smaller child, say ages 4 and up, they could feel free to roll it on a couple of different times a day. Next oil I love in this kit is the Steady blend. This grounding blend contains amyris, balsam fir, coriander, and magnolia, again in a fractionated coconut oil base. It's perfect for daily use to soothe feelings of stress or anxiousness when the child is feeling overwhelmed. It's also very soothing to the skin. So I like Steady. I love amyris. That's that kind of florally that we don't get ever, because I guess it's very, very limited, but balsam fir and magnolia. So it has kind of a florally smell, but really yummy. I love all of the kids blends. They're just very attractive. They're a little milder than some of our other blends. And really, if you have an adult in your life who maybe has sensitive skin, right? Like an older person, encourage them to use the children's blends and to keep them available. I actually gave a little bag of the kids blends to my mom so that many of you know my mom's living in assisted living now, and she keeps them available and she really loves to roll them on, and it's super easy for her. Okay, here's the Brave blend. Another one of, this is my other personal favorite. Contains wild orange, again the amyris, asmanthus, which is another flower, and cinnamon in a base of coconut, fractionated coconut oil. Brave is similar to our On Guard blend, but much more mild. And as you can see, each of the kids blends include only 4 ingredients, 4 essential oils in addition to the fractionated coconut oil, which is what keeps the blend more simplified. You can use it throughout the day. Again, for tension and anxiety, you can also put it on the soles of the feet. It is a, I don't know, I love these 4. These are my 4 favorites. I like the others, like for example, the Tamer is terrific for your, any sort of stomach upset, but these are my top 4 favorites. And we've got so much left to say that, thank you, the little cartoon girl you like. I'm sure she's like a little Snoopy character, a little Charlie Brown character. Okay, let's talk a little bit about kids nutrition. So as you know, we have the kids nutrition line, the chewable tablets, the omega-3 supplement, and the Pediassist Junior. I have to say, I still take the Pediassist Junior. I love that product. I'm going to talk about all 3 products, and I want you to, I want to kind of talk about why you use these as opposed to using adult vitamins. So number 1 on the hit parade is the A to Z chewable. It doesn't contain high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners, which you often find in children's vitamins. So if you go to the regular supermarket and you see those pink, green, and yellow vitamins, right? They're usually flavored with artificial flavors, and they have artificial colors in them. And I know that makes them attractive, but doesn't make them super healthy, right? They may also have artificial sweeteners, which the A to Z do not. They're a blend of A, B, E, and C, and they're safe for children 4 years old and up because they are chewable. The child has to be able to chew them. You could, of course, crack it in half and then give them half and then half if you really wanted to. Let's talk about why you want to use the vitamins. They are a balanced blend of essential vitamins, no artificial colors or flavors, no high fructose corn syrup, and they have a cognitive blend of choline, phosphodiesterone, and inositol, which can help your child to build their brain health. So they're natural watermelon flavor. I know some of you have said, well, not sure about the flavor, but if you haven't tried them in a while or your child hasn't tried them in a while, go back and try them again. They were reformulated, I want to say about 2 years ago. And for me, at least, the flavor is a lot better than they used to be. They're also easy to chew up and use. So just try them out. Cellular stress. stress can really be hard on children, where we have, because they've been under stress for so many months with COVID and just trying to keep them safe and indoors and using masks and so on and so forth. They can really be attacked by things like free radicals and other molecules that are doing damage to them, just like adults. So we want to be able to protect them as much as they can. They are also designed for kids that cannot swallow capsules, because we don't want our kids swallowing capsules before they are they're able to do so. Okay, the other product in this particular line is the IQ Mega. If you've tried giving your kids fish oil supplements before and you haven't been able to do it, the IQ Mega is a great way to try it. It does not have a fishy taste because of the wild orange essential oil. You can add it into smoothies, which is really great. You're only using a teaspoonful. I think it's about, I don't know how many milliliters that is, maybe 2 or 3 milliliters, very small amounts for them, and can be used into put into other liquids. I like the IQ Mega. I feel like our kids need it. If you're a person who eats fish, I don't know, 5 days a week, and you're eating fatty fish and your child is 2, well, maybe they're getting enough omega supplements. But if they're not, then you may want to consider. Kids very often have limited diets. They want to eat certain things over and over again. This is a great way for them to try to get in their omega-3 supplements. It promotes cardiovascular health, healthy joint function, healthy immune function, and healthy function of the brain. We all know that the brain is primarily fat, and IQ Mega, because it is a fatty oil supplement, does have tons of healthy fats that your child needs to build their brain and for their brain to stay healthy. 2 primary essential fatty acids are omega-6 and omega-3. Modern science suggests that for optimal health, humans should consume a 1-to-1 ratio of 6-to-3, but that we're actually getting something more like, I don't know, 15-to-1. So 15 omega-6s for every 1 omega-3. So to kind of put the balance back in everything in balance for optimal mental health, IQ Mega and other fatty fish oils are important for our children's brain. The increasing omega-3 fatty acid consumption has a positive effect on brain function and helps normal immune response. So if you're concerned about your kids' immunity, especially now when we may be exposed to things that we don't want to be exposed to, IQ Mega can be another thing that really helps them. Excuse me, hold on one second. So, last but not least, our PBSS Junior. Love, love, love this supplement. I take it myself. We keep it. We take all the sachets out of the box. We put it in a cup and we leave it on our countertop, and we use it, I would say, my daughter takes them every day when she's home. You can take up to 4 per day if you're a child. I'm sorry, if you're an adult, kids should take probably 1 a day. If they're super tempting to your kid because they think they're candy, then don't leave them on the countertop because they will disappear. You want to really, they are still a supplement. They are not a candy. You don't want your child taking 10 sachets in 1 day. You can pour the powder directly into the mouth, like one of those little pixie sticks that we used to get when we were kids. You can mix it into water or juice or your child's favorite beverage. You can also put into something like yogurt, cereal, or a smoothie. And I think the taste is delicious. There are a couple of you popping on, including Swambi says she takes it. Any other adults here taking the PBSS Junior? I want to know. It contains 6 probiotic strains for kids. It supports colon health, so anything having to do with the digestion. I know some of you have kids that are suffer from constipation, or as an adult, you have that problem. Take your PBSS Junior, folks. The other thing is, because it's granulated and dissolves quickly, you're going to have, it's not like a supplement that's going to go into your digestive tract and kind of sit and then maybe be excreted the other side. It's going to be absorbed into your system right away. It supports a healthy metabolism and promotes the absorption of nutrients. Danielle says she takes it and her daughter loves them. I think as a supplement, this is one of the most popular supplements I think that doTerra has ever produced, because adults and kids both use them. If you're someone who's dieting, if you're trying to really cut down on sweets, you can use this as a substitute for a sweetie at the end of the day. I continuously keep them out just for that reason. If I'm tempted to grab something else, oh, there's my PBS Junior. Okay, I'll have one of these. You can use them directly. I didn't know this, but I've heard of parents maybe sprinkling them even on cereal as a flavoring. Sounds crazy to me, but if your child's going to eat it and that's the way they like it, doesn't matter. Teresa is reminding me that this contains different strains of probiotics than the regular PB Assist, and that she likes to switch it up. And I do the same. I actually take one of the regular PB Assist in the evening, and then I kind of take these throughout the day. I almost feel like you could never get enough probiotics, that they're so healthy for your gut and your digestion. I shouldn't say that, because you could obviously go crazy and drink a whole bottle or take a whole bottle, which wouldn't be a great idea. But yes, so I do take both. You're right. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, so here's a couple of tips and tricks. This is our last section on, I know I've been talking forever. I hope you're not sick and tired of hearing from me. But here's are the things that as a parent you're going to want to know. So daily must-dos. These are daily must-dos for your child. You want to diffuse wild orange, super safe. Can't go wrong. You want to help them to use the On Guard toothpaste. Have your On Guard pump hand soap for hands and face available in your house and in all your sinks. Balance on the soles of the feet. Intune on the back of the neck. Purify on the hair, especially if there's any sort of lice outbreak in your children's school. Breathe on the feet and On Guard on the feet. So there's a lot of things here that you can use on a daily basis with your child. You can recommend these to any of your friends who have kids. Take a screenshot. We've got a couple more questions. Vincent is asking, can teenagers take PB Assist any time of the day? Yes, they absolutely can. Just like adults, again, limit to 4 per day, right? So 4 per day if you're a teenager. And I'm assuming you're meaning 13 to 19. So yes, that's the perfect age. Okay, this is a crazy problem that parents absolutely hate, but head lice can often be a problem, especially in children's schools. You want to mix eucalyptus, peppermint, rosemary, and marjoram, 40 drops of the mixture in 4 ounces of water. 4 ounces is 250 milliliters. Shake it and spray it on the hair daily. If you do find an outbreak, you're going to have to comb out those nits, but that mixture will also help you get rid of the nits in the hair. I unfortunately went through this with my daughter and my son years and years ago. I don't ever want to go through that again. Can I safely start a 15-month-old on the kids' vitamins? They have to be able to chew the kids' vitamins. So I would say LZT, no, but the kids' roll-ons, essential oils, yes, you could use on your children. Next, fear and anxiety. So I included this because I think it's a big problem right now, especially for our children. You want to diffuse cedarwood and bergamot. In preschool, you may want to add lavender or substitute or alternate with lavender. In grade school, breathe. Sometimes they're just not breathing. They're breathing shallowly because they're not getting enough exercise. So you want to help them to really take a deep breath, right? In middle school, you can add or you can substitute frankincense. That's the time when they begin to become aware of who they are, who their friendships are. It's a real time of growth and renewal. And then in high school, add the Aroma Touch in case they're having any sort of anxieties or fears or aches and pains because of that. Sometimes they have growing pains. You can also add in any of the adaptive line at that point. All of these are great suggestions. And then finally for adults, you can mix the cedarwood, bergamot, lavender, or ylang-ylang, wild orange, and patchouli for any sort of fears and anxieties. We're all struggling, folks, at different levels. Sometimes we are not personally struggling, but we're watching the struggles of someone else, or we know somebody close to us who's struggling, and we're trying to get out there and help people and share. I think that our mental and emotional health right now is the most important thing that we have to deal with. I recently had some checkups and I got good news, actually. The one thing that my doctor said was I probably not need to take more calcium. So I'm going to be including the bone nutrient in my daily routine. I had been taking other things for supporting the bones, including the daily nutrient pack and so on, but I think I'm going to be adding some calcium. Our physical health right now, I don't know if we're putting ourselves in as much danger. There's been a marked drop in all sorts of accidents and things because people are just not getting out as much, but there's more tension and stress and fatigue. And so we want to be mindful of that and to help our young people get over this period and to help them become more resilient. And then finally, concentration, memory, and performance. Now, we know that school performance is related to many different things. We want to take the pressure off our kids if we possibly can, especially during this time, but in tune and balance daily, and then diffusing peppermint while they're working. And it says here that in the 1990s, researchers at the University of Cincinnati found that a whiff of peppermint helped test subjects concentrate and do better on tasks that required sustained concentration. So I love that idea, giving our kids, my kids both use peppermint and have used it for years. I think I told you that when my son went to college in September, he took something like, I don't know, 15 bottles of peppermint with him, more than he could ever use in a single school year. But I don't know. I'm hoping he's sharing them with his friends. I did ask him the other day, have you used up all the peppermint? He said, oh, no. So it's a good thing. He's putting it on. I think also because he's in a hot part of the United States, he wanted to have it available so he could cool down, but it should also be helping him with his concentration. Doreen says she can't live without peppermint oil, and it's her daily essential oil. So I wanted to include one last thing for you. If you are packing up a backpack for your school-age child, you can include some of the things before and afterwards. So you want to help them to take their IQ Mega and their A to Z vitamins in the morning for natural energy and clear thinking. You can put a drop of lemon essential oil, or you could make a small lemonade and put it in there and then add the essential oil to it. You could make a natural cleansing hand gel. I probably wouldn't send the doTerra On Guard spray to school because I don't know if the teachers are going to love sprays, but you could make a spray, and there's a recipe for it right there on the screen. You can help them to stay focused with Intune Peppermint or Wild Orange. You could make them a roller, a handmade roller with all of those things in it and help them to roll it on. Make sure you dilute, or send them with one of the roll-ons from the kids kit. And then, of course, healthy foods, some of which can include essential oils. So we've got a wild orange and peanut butter sandwich, and also a tangerine fruit dip that they could use. And then you can pack all this up, and then they're ready to go to school. And they've got different ways that they're absorbing their essential oils throughout the day. I also used to send, and it's not in this picture, but I used to send my kids after about the age of 7 or 8 with peppermint and On Guard beadlets in their backpack. And my kids learned that the peppermint was for respiratory support and also for concentration, and that the On Guard was if they were feeling sniffly or they felt like maybe they just weren't feeling that great. So, and they learned to differentiate between those two types of beadlets. My son subsequently, much later, when he was about 12, got in trouble for giving out too many beadlets, and then even trying to sell beadlets at one point, which wasn't really a great thing. But I think they both enjoyed having that just right at their fingertips. It gives them that sense of control and power, and they feel more independent. Cynthia says, sorry for fear and anxiety. I missed the slide. Just want to screenshot it to remember. Let me see if I can go back so that you can screenshot it, Cynthia, because I think it's really important. Whoops. Actually, it's going forward now. Whoa. There we go. We've got YouTube, of course, and we've got Instagram. If you're interested in getting on any of social media networks, I did post some resources for you right at the beginning so that you can take a look at them. The resources include things like this physiology of essential oils in kids, a science and safety blog, a posting of nutritional adequate helping our children to get the adequate nutrition that they need, and summer living. So we're going into summer months here in the United States. So it's going to start getting warmer. Kids are going to be finishing their school years, hopefully getting into camps and things and getting out, getting lots of fresh air. So those are all available to you. They're at the top of the chat in case you didn't see them. And remember, everybody, thank you for all your time and patience and kind of going back and forth to the slides. You are amazing. You're always an amazing group, and I'm so happy that you're here today. And then last but not least, thank you as always for having been here. I'm really happy to see you and to just for all of you to be together again. I'm going to see if I can show that slide one more time, if I can. The anxiety slide. There we go. Oops. I think you can see it. Let me know, Cynthia, and anybody else who wants to take a shot of it. Okay, I'm going to keep going on. I'm going to also stop the share. And today we're going to be, I think we're going to give away some balance today, because I think that's a great thing for us to give away. Any questions? Is there anything I didn't cover? Do you think we did a good enough job getting, I try to talk about everything that I could think of. The one thing that we didn't talk about, which I think we should do in the next couple of weeks, is pregnant or nursing mummies, because that's kind of the before the baby comes. Some people have called it the childhood is like the fourth trimester. So you've got your 3 trimesters of pregnancy, and then babyhood is the fourth trimester. So if you will, we should be covering, I think, nutrition for and essential oils use for pregnant and nursing mummies, because that's a big one and an important one. Okay, so today we're going to be giving away 2 balanced essential oils, and our 2 winners are, you're kind of quiet today, folks. What's going on? Did you know all the information? You've heard this before. I hope if you have heard it, you are feeling like, oh, it was good to get a refresher. Oops. Okay, our 2 winners today. I'm getting better at writing this stuff down, folks. I'm trying. Okay, our 2 winners today are Julianti Eng, but Eng spelled N-G, and Sai Hua Eng, spelled E-N-G. You're both the winners of a balanced essential oil. Thank you so much for having been here today. Julianti says, oh, thank you for the daily must-dos. And Julianti, you're a winner, right? You have each won a balance. I'm so looking forward to seeing you again next week. We kept the recording on for the winners. If you haven't been on here live, you have an opportunity to win a prize. DM me and you can find out the link, and we'll have you on listening to the live really soon. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much for having been here. Bye-bye now.